despair can conquer, for God will surely bend. His blessing shall forever to posterity extend.
I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be present this afternoon at our media conference, the PLP Media Conference. I want to thank all journalists and people from different media houses who are present here this afternoon to come and experience what we have here to offer. First, I have to apologize for the late start. This was due to some technical situations that was beyond our control, but we have everything under control now, so I suppose we would proceed with this afternoon's proceeding. Before we start anything, let's first invoke God's blessing on this afternoon's proceeding. We'll have Miss Phoebe. She will do the prayer, and from there on, we'll proceed.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, we come to you right now, and we thank you for life and life more abundantly. God, we thank you for this is the day that you have made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. God, we thank you for this great nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. God, we ask you for your continuous blessings over this press conference as they present continuously the manifesto. God, we thank you for the wisdom of heaven that you have placed over Prime Minister Harris. God, we thank you for the continuous strength that you have over the PLP Dream Team. God, we give you the glory and we give you the honor for the manifestation of your promises and the manifestations of your victory over the PLP Dream Team. God, we thank you and we praise you in advance. In Jesus' wonderful name we pray. Amen.
Okay, we want to thank you, Phoebe, for that beautiful blessing that you would have invoked on today's proceedings. The reason why we're here so that we can present to you. We know that PLP would have launched their contract, the people's contract between PLP and the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis on Thursday. But we want to, because of this environment and the times that we are living in, it is not just like we used to have a manifesto where things are written and ideas are placed, but it is a contract that binds us or the PLP candidates with what they have to offer to the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. So this afternoon, we're going to have that information given to you. We have all of the candidates here. We have the candidate from constituency number 1, that is Jacqueline Bryan. We have constituency number 2, in Nubian Greer. Constituency number 3, we have Akila Byron Nisbet. We have constituency number 4, we have Kendall Liebert. Constituency number 5, we have Stasio Williams. Constituency number 6, we have Mark Williams. Constituency number 8, we have Talbot Bass. And we have the leader of PLP constituency number 8. We have constituency number 7, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris. We know we are living in trying times. Life is not the same. We are sitting on the brink of recession. We know that lots of economies are still trying to get back after we had the pandemic of COVID-19, which affected the entire world. So we know that these are trying times, and trying times need real leadership. And so this afternoon, we're going to take the time out and not just present a manifesto. We are going to present a promise made by the PLP and the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's a contract that binds us together. We are accustomed where everybody would just come up with some ideas and put the ideas together and present to us a manifesto. And after 5 years, majority of the time, the manifesto, the ideas were not brought into fruition. And so we want to get rid of that situation. We want to make sure that we present that contract that is going to bind us, bind the PLP leadership, the PLP candidate, the things that would have said and written in the manifesto. We want to make sure that that contract is fulfilled, and we take this opportunity for them to express and explain to us what are these contractual agreements and how they are going to benefit us as citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. And this time, I take the opportunity to hand the mic over to the leader, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Atherton, representatives of the media, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues at the head table, the candidates of the People's Labour Party. I want to thank all for joining in today's press conference. Today, we are going to explore some of the elements of our ambitious manifesto, our contract with the people. The manifesto reflects our plans, the plans of the next government of St. Kitts and Nevis. The plans cover three broad areas. How will we protect the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? How will we create jobs? And how we will grow the economy. Those are the three broad thematic areas covered in the manifesto. Our manifesto then is a manifesto about the future. The plans written in our contractual document are the people's plans. The candidates you see here come from the respective communities, and they have had an input in the manifesto document. They and their ideas are representative of the wishes of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. In short, the plans that we will discuss have come from our conversations, our interactions with the good people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis, in a real sense, have written our plans. We, the People's Labour Party, PLP, your party, the most proactive and the fastest growing political party in St. Kitts and Nevis, we look forward to the opportunity to deliver on these plans. This is the inaugural manifesto of the PLP, but for us, it is more than a routine manifesto. It is a contract with you, the good people of St. Kitts and Nevis. For too long, politicians just turn up at election time when they want to vote and then they disappear. They shut their offices and they walk away until the next elections. Not so with the People's Labour Party. And indeed, the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, the representative for number 3, has maintained her constituency office opened, and I want to commend her for that. Similarly, my constituency office in number 7, Main Street Tabernacle, has remained open over several decades. The PLP will not abandon the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And you can count on us. We will never walk away from the people. And that is why we have dubbed our manifesto our contract with the people. Our contract for the people is your guarantee that we will deliver what we say. It is your guarantee that we are in this together. And it is the people's way of holding us to account. It is a guarantee that the People's Labour Party will deliver a secure future for you, your families, your communities, and indeed our beloved country. All People's Labour Party candidates have entered into similar contracts with their respective constituency because they're all answerable to the people and they are accountable to the people. Their contract with their constituents, separate and distinct from the national commitments that we are making, will also be delivered. The PLP is the only party in St. Kitts and Nevis that proclaims and decrees that we shall deliver for everyone, in keeping with our mantra, we welcome all and we will serve all. This election, you have heard before, is being held at a difficult time for the global economy. In the news this week was the reality that the United States of America interest rates have gone up, which means the cost of borrowing and the cost of doing business have increased. There is a drumbeat of a potential global recession, which is growing louder. As a Minister of Finance for many years, I see and understand the numbers. I know what could be coming our way. And I said to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, in the context of the global economic turbulence, we need experience and strong economic management. This is not the time for us here to gamble with inexperience or lazy leadership. For my part, I can say that I have been tested, and today I stand ready. My team is ready to deliver to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis like never before. And we can deliver because we can manage money and we can manage our economy. Our record of excellent management over the last couple of years, and more particularly in the context of COVID-19, demonstrate beyond doubt. When the economy matters, PLP has the leadership. When the security of our people matters, PLP will have the leadership. When it comes to creating jobs, PLP will lead and that score also. The families are at the fulcrum, the cornerstone of every society. And in this regard, in our discussions with the families across St. Kitts and Nevis, we took particular note of their concerns. One of their significant concerns is how do they cope with the rising cost of living, caused largely as a result of externalities. Externalities such as the war in Ukraine and Russia, which has resulted in escalating prices of food and energy products. And having had several discussions, we have come to the conclusion that we need to provide significant financial assistance to help our families to cope successfully with the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on their lives and on their households. In this regard, we have proposed in our contract with the people that we will introduce a financial assistance to all families to supplement their incomes where such incomes are under $3,000. We propose that the PAP which is currently being made available at $500 per month, should be increased from the 1st of September to $1,000 per month. The PAP is our brainchild. We understand its impact on the daily lives of our people. We understand what it has done to the pride and dignity of so many of our people, not just our elderly, our woman-headed household, the grandfather, all of whom rely upon the PAP, particularly given the harshness of the economic impact of COVID-19, to assist them in managing their lives with dignity. And so we will increase the PAP assistance from $500 to $1,000 from 1st September 2022. In all of our discussions, we have come back again to the need to properly distinguish between the minimum wage and a livable wage. Many people are on minimum wages, but the minimum wage is not a livable wage. Certainly in the context of all that has been happening globally, certainly in the context of the rising costs of living which we confront daily, certainly in the context of the adverse upward movement in energy prices, we can say that our minimum wage needs significant revision and should be increased. We are aware that there is a mechanism, however, a tripartite mechanism for facilitating movement in the minimum wage. But as a government, we cannot stand by and allow our people to sink into deep poverty or indigence, as some are wont to call it. Therefore, we pledge that any person making less than $3,000 per month will automatically qualify to gain assistance from the government to one of its many social safety net programs, so that each month no worker, no family should have less than $3,000 in their pocket. We have taken note of the fact that throughout the service, there's a need for a broad revision of salaries, wages, and conditions of work. We want to ensure moving forward that all police officers, all nurses, teachers, defense force personnel, indeed our government security officers, no one should receive a salary properly trained. No one should receive a minimum salary of less than $3,000 per month. We will also, because we are aware of many single family situations and many persons on the minimum wage, we also propose that we will introduce specifically targeting women-headed households, but every other qualified household, a child allowance of $500 for parents who are making less than $3,000. The truth is, not all workers are government workers. So you may be at Rams, you may be at Horsfords, you may be at any other entity, and you're earning less than $3,000. The government intends to take leadership and set the example by its treatment of its own employees. That is why we have singled out, for example, for special mention, the police, the teachers, the defense force, the fire, and so on. And we say that once they have gone through a proper period of training and certification, none of them should be earning less than $3,000. But what happens then to those at Rams who are not getting that amount? The woman with her children, who when school opens in September, needs a top-up, particularly given the challenging period in which we now operate. That woman can come forward if she has children and obtain a $500 child allowance to help her adjust her budget to take care of her family. The government is concerned that there still remains significant interest in the development and build-out of the marijuana industry. Indeed, as part of the work we have conducted over the last 7 years, we had put before the public that St. Kitts and Nevis will take leadership in the build-out of the medicinal cannabis industry in St. Kitts and Nevis. Why will we do this? There are health benefits which we want our people to take advantage of. But importantly, properly built out with appropriate safeguards, this can become a new pathway for economic growth and development for our people. And so we are at an advanced stage where we can commit that we will shortly be making licenses and land accessible to traditional cultivators of marijuana in St. Kitts and bring them, as it were, from outside the periphery into the legitimate and lawful setting of economic life in St. Kitts and Nevis. There are areas in this new industry which we will want to pay special attention to. We will pay attention to such areas as the extraction and manufacturing, retail, research, testing, and product development. We will consider legislation to expedite the expungement of the record of people convicted with marijuana incidences solely, and we will take the relevant steps to ensure that we could move to rehabilitate them as quickly as possible. This is in keeping, of course, with a modern view that is now pervading not just in America, but globally. And the view that it is relatively harsh that a person could carry the scar and the burden of a conviction for use of marijuana in the context of the new thinking of its superior health value and the fact that it is part of the way of life of so many people. The modern view is that we should not have them scarred for life for what now on the books are considered legislations which need to be overhauled. One other significant area which I would wish to highlight, and I'm only giving a panoramic view, a broad view of some of the critical areas, since the other candidates here will choose some areas, selected areas, which they will also amplify. The National Health Insurance System is an important one. And we have said that this is critical to securing the health of the nation. The health of the nation, we have heard time and time again, is the wealth of the nation. We need healthy people to have a society that is productive, that can create jobs, and have persons who could respond in a timely manner to job opportunities. The National Health Insurance System will ensure that when our citizens and residents become sick, they are not hindered by the fact that they live from paycheck to paycheck. They can't pay the increased cost of health care. So we have found a mechanism through the national health system which will deliver affordable health care and take the burden from our families. In the implementation of this national health insurance system, which we hope to get activated within the next 12 months, we are going to focus in particular on the vulnerable, the elderly, the very young will be our critical target groups. We, in this context, will also provide all medical practitioners with ongoing professional training so that they can continue to provide empathetic care. And of course, our commitment to affordable health care means that children's health care will continue to remain free of cost. And the care of those who are of advanced age will always be subsidized by the People's Labour Party government going forward as and when necessary. We are committed to an overall analysis of the health system, looking for areas for enhancement in infrastructure, in human resources, etc. And we are, of course, investing significantly in the health services sector. We have in our 2022 budget, for example, provided for the addition of certain specialist skills that would enhance the delivery of health care in St. Kitts and Nevis. On the matter of immigration and border management, we want to fast track and streamline all applications, but in particular, citizenship applications for all our people, including those living abroad. We will, in the context of our obligations on the CARICOM, an OECS treaty, and other international obligations, we will reduce the number of years for acquiring citizenship through residence. Internationally, the best practice, you become a citizen by birth, by marriage, by descent. Our Constitution also provides that one can become a citizen through residence after a period of 14 years. It is a considered view, and research already conducted by the Office of the Attorney General has provided the information which suggests we have the longest waiting period. And while we know that living in St. Kitts and Nevis for many is living in paradise, we do believe that we should come closer in sync with the regional imperative and allow our brothers and sisters to be able to become citizens after a period of 7 years. So this we do for our people, our brothers and sisters. We want also to look at the work permit policy, empowering employees with the ability to control and secure their own future. And one of the things we are conscious of, that as a country, we must never tolerate abuse and advantage being taken of persons. We will not tolerate it in other countries where our citizens are, if they are being treated unfairly, and equally our heart of compassion will not allow us to allow in our country for employers to treat employees in an unfair way. Presently, as it is, employers should be paying for work permits, but we are well aware that many employers have passed that burden onto the employees. And so we will look at that particular matter in some detail, and you will see some reform with respect to the work permit policy, allowing greater flexibility to employees. We have already announced amnesty in response to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and 2021, allowing those who are legitimately here to continue to do business in St. Kitts and Nevis. On the question of the federal relationships, we well know that successive leaders on Nevis are among the first to say that we have had the best relationship between the federal entity and the NIA over the last 7 years. We shall continue to work hard to improve on this particular area of engagement within the Twin Islands, making up our federation and, of course, the federal entity. The work that we have requested of the World Bank through consultancy with respect to looking at the provisions for revenue and expenditure as outlined in Clause 1110 and elsewhere is advanced, and we will, of course, look to having serious national consultations on these particular areas. The workers, already we have made a commitment to make all public sector step workers permanent from the 1st of September. And we are doing this to provide the workers with job security. It will give them, apart from job security, one other important and attendant benefit is that it will now give them financial security. Hitherto, you go with a letter from the STEP program, everyone thinks you're a temporary employee in transition and not committed to offer financing loans to you. This will now give them a new lease, an ability to participate in the financial space. They will therefore be able to get their loans. They will have an opportunity to get their visas because, again, they are now part of an establishment of which they are a permanent member. So they are tangible benefits. In addition, they will also benefit from the existing government health insurance policy. So these are tangible benefits which comes in making our step workers part of the permanent establishment. Over 1,200 persons will become beneficiaries with job security and attendant benefits. This is how an effective and compassionate government responds in times like these. This is what a compassionate government should deliver, and the People's Labour Party will deliver. But we always go further than the others because we are bold in our commitment. We are compassionate, and our plans and programs come directly from the people. We have a class of workers now described as the government auxiliary employees. For some time now, going back as far as 2007, they were promised that like other categories of government workers, specifically the so-called established workers, they would be made pensionable. That is, the government will respect and honor their long contribution to government service, and at the end of an acclaimed and approved period, they will become part of the pensionable establishment of the government. In fact, the government went so far as to pass a law which it never really took forward and brought into operation. We, the People's Labour Party, has determined that an injustice against any category of worker is an injustice against all of us, and an injustice must never stand. And in this regard, we have taken the decision that we shall make all the GAE workers pensionable, and all those non-establishment workers who exited the government, who are home feeling sad and dejected that they left government after many years, some as long as 40 years, without one pension, we will make that right, and each of them will receive their pensionable benefits. We know some of them. Many of them, although their time had come, and their body and their mind were telling them that it's time to go home and relax a bit more, they tried to hold on as long as possible because they wanted that pension. They wanted that financial security. At long last, a compassionate People's Labour Party government will have that done in our next term. That is why, and a good example of what we mean when we say securing the future. Securing the future, putting our people in a secure position, giving our workers job security and the STEP program, giving those who have given years of service financial security. So no grandmother and grandfather should be home languishing, remorse, having served the government so faithfully as so many have. They have nothing to show for it. We are correcting injustice as part of our efforts to secure a safer and better future for all our people. We, as part of our commitment to people, are sensitive to the fact that many of our people go abroad to study and they return from time to time, and the job market may not be actively in search of their skills. Of course, we encourage as many to get into self-employment and to put their new skills and knowledge to good use. The government proposed as part, the People's Labour Party, when next in government, will propose a model by which we can put every graduate to work. That is putting them, ensuring that they get job experience, enhanced skills in particular area. So when job opportunities come and employers are asking for experience, they have at least the minimum threshold to give them the front place in the search for jobs. So we are committed to put every graduate to work. Where will they work? Some will find work, an attachment in the public sector. Some will find it in the private sector. And some will find it in our NGO community. We have important NGOs, like our Red Cross, for example. We have important community-based organizations, like our churches, all of which require administrative and other support and leadership. Imagine if we could get some of our graduates attached to a Red Cross, which is a global institution, what they can do for projects coming into St. Kitts, what they can do to ensure that our response to emergencies and disaster make us one of the most resilient countries in the world. So the talent then must be shared across the full range of entities in our country and enrich the experience and livelihood of all of us. To the voters of St. Kitts and Nevis, I say that you have a clear choice. Our vision is a clear one, and our ambition is bold, and we make no apologies for wanting to do the very best for our people. We set our aspirations high because our people deserve the best. The People's Labour Party's contract with the people is bold as it is aspirational. This is because we want to deliver so much for our people. Of course, we are aware that we cannot do this alone. We need the support of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is why we are asking that come next Friday, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis give full and strong support to each and every one of the 8 candidates on the People's Labour Party ticket. I am counting on you to do that. Your vote then will make a difference, because before you is a choice of a future, a secure future or an insecure one. Before you is a choice whether we will put the economy back to work again. We have the record of putting to work the largest number of persons in the history of Social Security under the leadership of yours truly. We have the record of having the highest wages and salaries being paid in St. Kitts and Nevis under my watch as Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. What we did before COVID-19, we want to do again and surpass that. So if you're looking for a future with an economy thriving, people have money in their pocket, not only as a consequence of the magic we have done in playing double salary 4 years in a row during good times and even in bad times. Come COVID, last year we were able to do a double salary again. We have been able to do that without borrowing 1 cent. Elsewhere in the Caribbean, governments have introduced by different names what they call a COVID-19 tax. I am pleased to say that under my leadership of this country, we have not introduced 1 new taxes. In fact, we have removed taxes. Even now, as we speak, and in response to COVID-19, we reduce corporation tax from a high of 33% to a low of 25%. And we shall ensure moving forward, St. Kitts and Nevis has one of the lowest and most competitive tax structure in our region. We do that to support businesses. We do that to give businesses additional resources to plow back in their entities, to create jobs for our people, because our country is stronger when every able and willing adult can find work in the land of his or her birth. Yes, if you want a secure future in which the economy is strong, the choice is a People's Labour Party. And when you go through our manifesto, articulated will be our vision. The expansion of the tourism sector, for example, bringing new additions to that. You will see we talk about new and exciting trends in the entertainment industry, the further build out of movie making and movie production in St. Kitts and Nevis. We will talk about our own capital program, how we are moving ahead of so many in all areas that matter to the life of St. Kitts and Nevis. Water. We are going to be addressing that through desalination plant construction. Already have arrangement in place with the government of the UAE to start the first one. Already advanced in discussion and negotiation with private sector entities to continue. Because the experts have told us this is the way we will have to go. Because in this new era of climate change, water will always be under threat and challenge. And so we are attempting again to secure the future, the enhanced quality of life for our people by these steps that we are taking. We understand that we are vulnerable to fossil fuels, and we have already started a program to develop one of the largest solar farms in the Caribbean region, maybe in the hemisphere, right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We will continue our progressive path because the future For every child in St. Kitts and Nevis must be bright. And we must always want to bestow on the generation after us a quality of life better than the one that we inherited. Yes, we are about people. All that we do will be about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. A vote then for the People's Labour Party will protect the future. A vote for any other party will put our security at risk and endanger the future. We say to you, if you want to secure your finances, choose the PLP candidate. We say to you, if you want men and women working industriously, diligently, professionally in your favor, vote for the People's Labour Party candidate. If you want your family to be strengthened and supported, vote for the People's Labour Party. If you want to keep up, enhance, expanded, and reform, vote for the PLP. And if you're a step worker and you genuinely want to become an permanent employee, vote for the People's Labour Party. And if you want peace to reign in St. Kitts and Nevis, where our streets forever shall remain safe, you will vote for the People's Labour Party. A vote for anyone else will remove all of these. In conclusion, this can be an exciting time in our history. We can leave our children a much better quality of life than that which was left for us. Now is the time for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to come together. And I need all 8 seats to deliver the secure future for you. Now is the time to put aside traditional voting habits, and embrace ambitious voting. Now is the time to say, I am voting for my country. Now is the time to embrace and to understand that the future is yours. Future is in your hands. Over the last couple of weeks, we have seen many people move from traditional affiliation to parties like PAM and Old Labour to the third option, the clear choice of the People's Labour Party. And we encourage all of you to do that. We are about people. We are about country. That is why we say fellow citizens and residents. Every one of you will find a welcoming place in the People's Labour Party. You will get an opportunity to realize your dreams and fulfill your aspirations. We promise there will be no victimization. We have had enough of that. On the Labour, on the PAM. It is time for the country to create a new history, if you will, a better future by embracing the People's Labour Party and its welcoming philosophy, where everyone deserves a chance in this dear land of the birth. That is why we are making history even here. You look on our platform, we are the only political party on St. Kitts to have fielded 2 women to be part of our slate, moving our country on the right path of representative democracy. So I say to all, let us work together. St. Kitts and Nevis belongs to us, to each and every one of us. We are not a nation entirely unto ourselves. We need others to help us, to bring their investment, to work and contribute to our development. And that is why our new immigration policy shows sensitivity to that reality, that all talented people must feel welcome. All people who are going to comply with our laws, respect our people and our custom, must find St. Kitts and Nevis a welcoming place. I believe that the future looks good for St. Kitts and Nevis, notwithstanding the storms that are attendant when we listen to the news. We have been first of the class in our management of the COVID-19 pandemic. We entered that pandemic with the strongest fiscal buffer of any country, not only in the OECS, but CARICOM and the hemisphere. Let us continue to excel. When you vote for the People's Labour Party candidate, you're giving St. Kitts and Nevis, you're giving yourself an opportunity to be part of a dynamic, progressive country that is excelling, doing well, and is the model of the best managed small island state. Thank you. God bless us all.
Can I have another round of applause for such resounding hope that has been... I am so grateful and I'm proud of that presentation by the Honorable Prime Minister. It's a presentation of hope. We now know that any great leader deserves a great cabinet. And so I'm going to welcome to the podium Miss Jacqueline Bryan. She is going to make a presentation in the way and in which she can assist the Honorable Prime Minister in delivering what he would have said earlier, a hopeful, a prosperous St. Kitts and Nevis.
Pleasant good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here to share our plans with you and to share our contract with you. And I'm going to focus on a small section of the contract and bring some of our commitments to issues regarding gender and community development to your attention. Just briefly, the manifesto is available and I'm encouraging everyone to take their time, read it and go through it. There's something that caters to everyone in every category. And I am very proud to have been a part of the process and very happy to present this manifesto, our contract to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, to you. My name is Jacqueline Bryan. As said before, the People's Labour Party candidate for constituency number 1, that's East Bastia. And the People's Labour Party is a party for women, a party ready to address issues that affect women. And I'm happy to be a part of a party that is ready to look out for women. As the Prime Minister stated, families are the cornerstone of our communities, and we need to make sure we provide whatever support we can to help them improve their quality of lives, help them become successful, help them become financially independent. And if we are to support our families and ensure we have stronger families and that our communities thrive, then it is important we support our women. Most of the households in St. Kitts and Nevis are headed by women. And so it's important that they get specific support and have specific needs addressed. By supporting our women, families, and communities, we are giving St. Kitts and Nevis the best possible chance to succeed and deliver a secure future. Part of what makes me proud as well to be a PLP candidate is that we understand the need to support women, families, and communities. And I think that has come out here already today with many of the things that the Prime Minister announced. And to help support the development of our young mothers, in particular, on-the-job work experience programs will be introduced so they can learn new skill sets while working. We will establish a brand new Women's Training and Development Center that includes an emergency shelter for victims of domestic violence and their families with full police presence all the time. This is... We know this is a serious concern where it comes to providing protection to women who need to flee situations. There are many women who have emergencies and they need to get out of the situation right away. And sometimes they're not always able to leave the environment which they so urgently need to get out of. And so this is going to offer them a safe haven, even as a transitionary period, to make sure that they and their children are safe until they can be relocated. We will have shelters to provide the essential aspect of protection, services, and resources which enable women and children who have experienced abuse to recover from violence, to rebuild self-esteem, and to take steps to regain a self-determined and independent life. So we are going to help them get back on their feet, help them support themselves and their families, and help them rebuild the confidence that they need to continue on their own. It's not all the time you hear a manifesto focus on social issues such as these, but I'm happy that this party has considered these kinds of issues so important that they would put them at the forefront of their manifesto. We all know how important our community centers and facilities are, and the People's Labour Party will construct daycare centers, in particular for the elderly, in several areas. So we can expect to have one in the East, in Central and West Bastia, as well as Keon and Sandy Point. And on the campaign trail, a lot of persons have heard me speak to taking care of our seniors who have worked so hard to build this country. They have contributed to nation building, and in their older years, we need to make sure that they are well taken care of when they're ready to retire and they're not as able to look out for themselves. We as a society need to then step in and ensure that we can assist them with the support they need. So not only are we focusing on the very young, but we're also focusing on our seniors and everybody in between. We will construct new community centers in Halfway Tree and Sadlers in Parsons Village to make sure that these communities have access to areas where they can come together, socialize, have events, because community centers serve a very important purpose, and these communities will get community centers. So as I said, it's just a brief overview of what we are proposing to address issues where gender and community development are concerned. So in conclusion, just know that the People's Labour Party has a plan to protect our families. The People's Labour Party has a plan to provide more support for women that will make us a stronger society. The People's Labour Party has a plan to provide more opportunities for women to pursue their talents wherever they lie. And the People's Labour Party has a real plan to deliver a secure future for all. Thank you so much.
Isn't it heartwarming to listen to these promises and knowing that they're not just promises, but they are part of a contractual agreement that binds the PLP and the citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, making sure that these are not just written in manifestos, but these are things that are going to come to fruition. I sit there and I think, is it real? But based on their track record, we have seen how much they would have delivered in such a short time. We've listened from Jacqueline. Jacqueline is new to politics, but we have seen her track record, and we understand that she would have recognized that these are things that are absolutely necessary at this time. And just like they would have said, it's based on discussions and that is how they came about all of these things that are placed in the manifesto, or the contract between the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis and the PLP government that is due to form after August 5th. Now we're going to have come to the podium. Constituency number 2. We know that he has a track record. He has a great understanding of what it takes. He have been doing that. We know about the peace program that he was a part of before we're in this situation. He have given of his time and his expertise into that area. We have seen him as an engineer, having an understanding of the experience of what it takes to get these things done. So let us welcome to the podium Mr. Nubian Greer. He is a candidate for constituency number 2.
Good afternoon. My name is Nubian Greer from constituency number 2, Central Bastia. I am extremely pleased today to get a next shot at discussing some of the things that we have in place in our manifesto for the benefit of Kittitians and Nivisions on a whole. Today, I am pleased to speak about a few issues that are passionate for me in Central Bastia. One of them is the housing issue that we face in Central Bastia. Housing for us has been an issue for many decades, and I am pleased to announce today that the Prime Minister has intended to launch one of the largest housing revolutions ever experienced in St. Kitts and Nevis. To make sure that not only people in Central Bastia, but Kittitians on a whole get housing solutions, proper housing solutions, energy efficient housing solutions right here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and especially in Central Bastia. We know that East Bastia, Central Bastia, and West Bastia has always had housing issues. And so I am pleased to be a part of this team in this time to make sure that I am a part of that. So at the end of the day, I could say I was a part of that revolution that made sure that Kittitians found really, really good housing solutions and fixed the housing crisis that we currently face. For many years, we have seen it. Other administrations have tried things that has never, ever worked for us, like the housing issue that we have down down at the Gardens, where persons are paying rent. Today, they are paying rent to the government for houses for over 40 years that they would never, ever own unless the policies change. And PLP has made a commitment to fix and rectify that problem. So we would go back and look at how much money they have paid thus far and see if they're entitled to those homes at this point in time or how much more they owe on their housing. We also want to look at the urban resilience plan that we have for our slums and our ghettos and make sure that we could provide sustainable long-term plans to revitalize all of those areas and make sure that we could attract good investment and keep those communities safe and resilient. And so that plan is called the National Urban Resilience Plan for Greater Bastia. We would also look at the infrastructure that is in place, the sewage, what we plan to do with the sewage, what we plan to do with the drainage, because those communities were, well, we know how they be, all the drains run down into the Bay Road, so if we want to do anything with it, we must plan for the future. We must plan to deal with it in a sustainable and in a long-term way. So it's not only for the housing, but it's also to deal with the infrastructure surrounding all of those areas and make sure we could deal with our wastewater and our waste treatment in a sustainable way. And so, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we sustain a PLP government in office to deliver on all of these plans that we have in place for not only Central Bastia, but St. Kitts on a whole. We want to make sure that we could deliver a safe and a strong economy for Kittitians and Nevisians. And that means protecting the people, protecting our economy, protecting our children. I want to highlight something that the Prime Minister said earlier in his presentation, where he spoke to the representation and the representation by leadership. He spoke to the fact that Miss Akila Byron Nisbet's office remained open for the last 2 years. His office remained open for the last 7 years. Those were the only two offices. Well, it was probably more than that. Well, it is more than that, actually, over 30 years. And those were the only two offices that were open in St. Kitts and Nevis. Every other minister or candidate had to reopen their offices. Most of them went in new areas. Probably some of them couldn't even find the keys for the locks on the offices. But is leading by example. And that is the only how you could provide good representation, is by being there in your office and serving the people, by giving them good representation and good leadership. And so at the end of the day, it comes down to who you could trust to deal with the economy. It's not a matter of what if, but it is when we get a next Category 5 hurricane coming along here in the Caribbean. Who can you trust to feel your pain and put back on your roof? It's only the PLP government could do that. In the past, we have had many hurricanes pass through the Caribbean, many hurricanes pass over St. Kitts. The most we have gotten from any other administration was tarpaulins. But under this PLP government, we got roofs back on. Which benefited thousands of families. And that's commendable. And so it's not if, but when a next pandemic comes along, who can we trust to manage the economy? Who can we trust to keep us safe and guide us and navigate our economy and our people through these tough economical times? It's only Dr. Harris and Ms. Akila Byron Nisbet did that for us in the Ministry of Health and in the Ministry of Finance. And so I want us to be very cognizant of the time that we are living in and very cognizant of this administration that you have here in your hands right now. And don't lose that opportunity. So on August 5th, I want everyone to go out and walk with their families and walk with their friends and vote for every single candidate that we have up here today. And make sure we have a very clear mandate on August 5th so that on August 6th, you have a full slate, a full PLP government with a full slate of candidates that can work and deliver for you and protect your future. Thank you very much.
This election is about trust. Who can we trust in times like these? Perilous times are on us. We would have seen a leader who would have given to us. Newbin spoke about the roof program that we would have had. How many people would have benefited? Not just PLP supporters. Every single household benefited from the roofing program. We have a member of parliament, a lady who have delivered in just 2 years. She would have made good on her promises. Not all. She has so much more that she has to deliver. And she's asking for another chance to deliver these things to you. We know Akila can do. And so we are asking you on August 5th to make sure those members of constituency number 3 do what you're supposed to do. Make sure that you put Akila Byron Nisbet in the position where she can continue to deliver for you. I'll have her come to the podium and tell you some of her plans that she has and how she's going to make sure that she delivers them.
Good afternoon to everyone here, to all listening and viewing. It is indeed a pleasure for us to be here today, to be able to speak to our contract with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, in the People's Labour Party, we say commitments, because commitments mean that we are committed to following through on whatever it is that we say we will do for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I am Akila Byron Nisbet, your representative for West Bastia, St. Christopher number 3, PLP candidate in the upcoming elections. And today, I just want to be able to talk about some of the key sectors that will impact our future prosperity and help us to deliver a secure future in a way that only the People's Labour Party can. The sectors that I want to look at today are tourism, entertainment, creative industries, and our youth safety. We all know that tourism is vital for our economy. And whether you are a taxi driver, a chef, a vendor, a tour guide, there are so many job opportunities within that sector. But we need to be able to improve our tourism offering if we are to grow this sector into a more competitive market especially during this period of global uncertainty. Your PLP government will always look for new opportunities to grow our economy, and more specifically for our creative sector. In entertainment and the orange economy, we see some real true potential. Having been the minister for the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, Entertainment and Talent Development, I understand how the creative sector can truly contribute to our bottom line and our fiscal safety. And this is something that the People's Labour Party is committed to continue to work on, improve, so that we can see the benefits of a true orange economy. And so, your PLP government will make investments and support the entertainment industry, as we know it is of paramount importance. And it's an industry that can generate employment and provide a range of new and interesting career options for many of our young people. This industry can also generate foreign exchange from the export of cultural products and services, as well as contributing to visitor experience during the festival periods and our carnival. And we must also look at practical ways that we can protect our young people. If our young people are safe, they can develop and lead happy lives without worries for their security. So allow me to dive in a bit more in these areas, starting first with tourism. As we all know, and I've indicated earlier, tourism is vital to our economy. Your PLP government will expand and rehabilitate the RLB International Airport, which will increase our tourism potential. It is our intention to redesign and expand our tourism market to attract stay-over tourists from Europe and other EU member states. Your PLP government will transition the CFBC Hospitality Division into a comprehensive hotel training academy from which we'll be able to have more of our young people ready for jobs in the hotel and tourism sector. And as I said on Thursday night it is not just about working in the hotels as staff members, but we want to see our young people elevated into supervisory as well as managerial roles in these various hotels as well and within the sector. Your PLP government, and see I am talking in affirmation when I say your PLP government, We will negotiate with existing airlines and potential new carriers into the Federation in order to improve airlift and obtain cheaper airfares. And I was looking at some airfares just recently, and the price on these airfares, 3,000 US and above, round trip to St. Kitts. We need to do something about our airfares. And so your PLP government would work diligently to ensure that we are negotiating for the best possible price. One way of doing that is bringing in new airlines and new aircrafts into St. Kitts and Nevis that would allow us to be able to be more competitive. And once you're more competitive, the prices will go down. And that is what we want to do for our people. Now let's look a little bit closer at the entertainment, creative sectors, and cultural sector. Your PLP government will continue to develop the orange economy. More specifically, your PLP government will look at these various areas that we have already started working in through the Ministry of Entrepreneurship. Those are film and photography, entertainment and music, and the arts, that is performing arts, visual arts. And we will make sure that they have the best available to them. One growing sector in our federation, as we are all aware, is the film industry, film and television. Your PLP government will directly engage with the international film industry to attract more productions to be filmed on St. Kitts and Nevis. As a matter of fact, through the ministry and as the minister, I have already been engaged through the embassy, the US Embassy in Barbados, to be able to link with a number of persons within the industry so that we can begin to network and see how best we can develop right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And it's not only for film, we have also been doing that within the music industry. And we have already linked with persons, producers, executive producers, outside of St. Kitts and Nevis, some in US and Canada, to provide us with the support that we need and guidance that we need to properly develop our music industry here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Just recently, we would have had training that was conducted by some leading Canadian and US producers to make sure that our artists understand the true meaning of what it is to be in the business of music. It's not just about talent. We all have talent, but we need to be able to develop the business side of the industry. And so we would have brought them in, they would have done some work, and I can say they were so impressed with some of our talent that they're willing to work with them and take them forward as well. As the minister, I'm also in discussion with a leading TV channel that is known regionally and internationally to be able to further develop our art and our music industry here in St. Kitts. But more details will come when I am returned as the minister after the next general elections. Your PLP government will also continue on the path that we have been on with a tax rebate for the film industry. That way we'll be able to have more film producers wanting to come to St. Kitts as an incentive, offering them that rebate. But the rebate would not only be for international film producers, but also our local film producers as well, because our people also deserve whatever incentive to keep them going and developing their crafts. Your PLP government will ensure our people can develop their skills as entertainers and performing artists, and we will commit to constructing a national center for the performing arts to do just that. We also note that it is important for us to help our creatives and performers to get treated fairly. The work that they do, because at the end of the day, it is work. must be paid at the proper prices. And when they negotiate for the proper prices, they must receive it. But not only that, they must also benefit from the intellectual property that they should receive from that as well. And so your PLP government will support intellectual property training, which will help us to protect our artists and creatives. We've started that already, and we will put more effort into doing that. I now turn to the area of youth safety, or the safety of our children. This area, this that I am about to speak about, is an area that not many would want to touch. But as a mother, I understand the importance of this and for protecting our children. I wouldn't want it for my children, and so I want to make sure that all of our nation's children are protected. And what we will be doing as your PLP government is developing a sex offender registry to help with the protection of our young people from sexual predators. And for those who don't know, a sex offender registry is a tool of public safety. The idea behind an accessible sex offender registry is that if any community member can know of the sex offender's presence in their community, they can take additional steps to prevent victimization. If offenders know that the community members are aware of their identity and presence, offenders may be less likely to reoffend, considering that their likelihood of detection, apprehension, and conviction would be enhanced. And this is something that I am passionate about, because as I go through communities, you hear of so many heartbreaking stories in relation to sexual offense. And so it is important for us to protect our children in particular, protect our women. And so that is something that we will be committed to seeing fulfilled when we are returned as the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so, in closing, I just want to reiterate that this is part of our contract with the people to to deliver a secure future. And we can deliver because you know that we are able to manage our economy. The only way that you'll be able to deliver on the commitments that you make, and for us to be able to deliver on all of the key commitments that we are making to make your lives better, is through a strong economy. And only the People's Labour Party have a track record with a leader who is capable of ensuring that we have a strong economy. He has proven to us over the years that he has the fiscal knowledge and know-how in order to be able to take us through any trials that we have as a nation, all the global insecurities that we have. He knows how to maneuver our fiscal base to keep our economy going strong so that we can deliver that secure future that we are talking about. And so we are asking you on August 5th to remember that in order for us to deliver a secure future, you must vote for the People's Labour Party candidate in your constituency. Thank you so much.
We know experience is the greatest teacher, and we have experienced leadership that we can trust. We have seen the Honorable Timothy Harris, who have been tested and tried during the COVID pandemic, that the world economies buckled under and ours thrive. We have to be grateful. We see the fact, and I couldn't understand his choice of candidates, but as you see them grow and you see what they have to offer, it amazes me. When I saw Kendall Liebert for the first time, I thought this was a little boy, but what I've seen him done so far, I am so amazed. Constituency number 4 has been restored by Kendall Liebert. I've seen the cleanup campaign was the first initiative that he took, and you have seen, now you can see clearly what is and can happen in constituency number 4. So I bring to the podium Kendall Liebert. He's going to tell you about the other plans that he has, not just for constituency number 4, but for the residents and citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much. Yes, I am growing, and a lot more to grow as well. My name is Kendall Liebert, the PLP candidate for constituency number 4. And this afternoon, I'll highlight some of our commitments on education and sports. As we know, the future of our country depends on the young generations to come. We, the People Labour Party, we can deliver a secure future by ensuring that all young people get a great education. Education is a passion of mine. It helps transform my life. And which is why, I would have done one of the first research in the Caribbean on studying the effectiveness of using a technological approach in the mathematics classroom, which was actually published last year in the Sustainability Journal. So you can check it out online. So I have proven data which shows that technology is the way in our classroom, and we are committed to doing just that right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And with the policies of the PLP we are putting together, we will transform the life of many young people. We will support the schools by giving them the resources they need to give our young people the education they deserve. We will make sure that no child is left behind, and we will ensure that every child can fulfill their dreams. Yes, we will transform the education. We will transform the education to meet the modern demands of our society and the technological world that we live in line with the emerging trades and industries. We will have a broad focus on academic and vocational skills, so all children can excel regardless of where their strength lies, whether they are academically inclined, entertainment inclined, sports, or vocational work. We will increase the fundings for additional devices to be used in schools, colleges, so children can learn online as well. We will work to improve the access to online learning by undertaking an audit of home networking requirement of students by working with the telecommunication providers. And we, the People's Labour Party, we will support young people who wants to attend college by setting up a new fund which will be invested in the birth of every single child right here in St. Kitts Nevis. And this fund will gain interest over the years until they are at the age of 18, which they can access to use for university education. We will also place a renewed focus on technical and vocational skills by ensuring that AVEC becomes an internationally certified institution, so every child can excel, no matter where their strength lies, and we will have the skills and the specialists that our federation and our economy need. Sports. We all know sports here in St. Kitts and Nevis plays a big role in our culture. I represented our country on the global stage at football and track and field. So again, this is personal to me as education is. So yes, we should use sports to keep young people fit, but we should also support people to pursue their talents and build a career in professional sports. Next week, the West Indies are playing India in the T20 Internationals at Warner Park. We should use events like these to enhance sports tourism, and by investing more in sports. We can do that right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So therefore, we will deliver $10 million to professionalize sports, including cricket, football, netball, and track and field, so more people can pursue their career along in sports. We'll set up a St. Kitts and Nevis T20 career tournament right here in St. Kitts with 5 or 6 teams to create a market for our sports professionals. And so we will also develop a female cricket league right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we will develop an aquatic center to provide opportunities for young people to learn to swim. I remember back in Taiwan, I used to always go into the pool to swim, and we need these kind of resources here as well in St. Kitts so we can send athletes off to Olympics as well. And also to hold competitive events and train young people for global and, as I mentioned, such as Olympics. So in conclusion, this PLP plan to deliver more investments in school, more support for young people who wanting to study at university, and more opportunities for young people to pursue their talents wherever they lie. We'll support our talented athletes while boosting our economy and creating more jobs. This is a real plan to deliver a secure future for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So on election day, go out and support us by voting for us and securing your future. I thank you.
The saying, never judge a book by its cover, is really true. When I saw Kendall, I just thought he was such a young little boy growing up, never have an understanding that he could be such an eloquent speaker, not just eloquent, but have a good understanding of how he is going to make possible all of, not the promises, but the commitment that he has made for the constituents of constituency number 4 and for the citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis. I want to welcome to the podium a man that I've looked up to over the years, a young man who started at a very young age, who has been very successful in an area before people have a good understanding of internet and technology. He was one who was right there at a very young age. He's a man who would bring lots of promise to a constituency who has been taken for granted by the leadership, by the leaders that they would have had, previously leaders that they would have had. A man who is not only promising, but who has been committed. A man who's already brought the constituents of constituency number 5 together by his programs and the plans that he has in place. And I'm looking forward to the future of constituency number 5. They duly deserve it because they have always been loyal. We'll bring constituency number 5 representative, Mr. Stasio Williams, to the podium.
A pleasant good afternoon. Good afternoon, I say to all listening and viewing live, those at home and abroad, and especially those in my hometown, Sandy Point, those watching live at the Vision Center. My name is Stasio Williams, your PLP candidate for constituency number 5, which encompasses Sandy Point, Fig Tree, and La Valley. This afternoon, I'm going to speak to you about our contract with the people, our contract and our plans and our commitment to develop the lives and the livelihood of our people, our good citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, but in particular to businesses and entrepreneurs. Each time I have an opportunity to speak about business, I get really excited. I get excited because I am a businessman, and I've walked that journey as a young businessman for years. And because small businesses, I understand, and entrepreneurs are the backbone of our economy. And I know from my own experience that businesses can create jobs and they can generate wealth for our people. And that is why I am passionate about speaking to our businesses and entrepreneurs this afternoon. We, the PLP, understand that without a strong economy, we cannot provide jobs. We understand that without a job, people cannot put food on their table and they cannot provide for their families. And without a strong economy, we cannot afford the social programs that we have become accustomed to. Those very social programs that have been protecting our people. I'm talking about the PAP, I'm talking about the peace, and I'm talking about the STEP. The sustainability of these programs are critical, especially in these crucial times, And that is why the PLP's plan is to rebuild our economy after the global pandemic and rebuild jobs and rebuild hope in our people and to deliver that secure future that we deserve. We will prioritize business. The reality is that after facing such uncertain times, and we continue to face these globally challenging times ahead, but we have a plan, and that plan will assist businesses by getting them started and by helping them to grow. As a business owner myself, I understand how difficult it is in those early days. I really do. Those early days sometimes are the most daunting. And so I'm pleased to announce that my PLP, your PLP government, after you elect us on August 5th, will be putting in place business incubators, not just in my own constituency, but all across St. Kitts and Nevis. When I speak to entrepreneurs in my own constituency, and when I speak to young businessmen and women all across this country, many people have great ideas. Many persons have small business operations, and all they need is a little spot to get started. All they need is some support. Many of you cannot afford the high cost of commercial rent. And I'm saying to you here that after you elect our PLP government, we will put business centers in place to address that for you. These business incubators we're talking about will encourage entrepreneurs to pursue their next great idea. These business incubators is going to help entrepreneurs to get advice, mentorship. It's going to help you all to create your business plan so that you can access loans and financing at low interest rates so that you can grow and thrive with your businesses. Some of you have heard me talk about how I'm going to, with your help, regenerate Sandy Point as a thriving town by establishing commercial centers. This policy is a policy that your PLP government will be rolling out all across the entire country of St. Kitts and Nevis. So your PLP government will provide tax incentives to businesses so that they can grow and expand by setting up additional branches in the rural and urban areas. What does that mean? It means that if you're living in one community, you don't necessarily have to go into the capital Bastille. You can access a range of services and businesses that you're accustomed to in the capital, in your own local community, and especially in Sandy Point or Greytown. And that is how we intend to regenerate and grow our local economies so that businesses can grow and that we can create more jobs for you, the good people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And to build on this, we will develop business parks and centers within both the urban and rural areas through public and private sector partnerships to stimulate greater economic activity. We understand how to grow the economy and we understand how to protect you, the people. This is our plan. We cannot talk about business growth without talking about opportunities for export, because we understand that businesses can grow not just within your local space, but it's important that you export your products and services. And so we will encourage businesses to export by setting up new export processing zones to make it easier for you, businesses and entrepreneurs, to do business across the region, to access new markets, and to grow and expand your businesses. This will run alongside plans to implement the revised national manufacturing strategy to support local entrepreneurs to develop and market their products. Your caring and compassionate PLP government will do that for you. A key part of our strategic policy to build back better and to build back stronger after the pandemic and to strengthen our economic resilience is to diversify our economy by promoting and attracting investment, focusing on light manufacturing in electronics, food and beverage, home furnishings, and interior design. We will take an aggressive approach to marketing and promotion to bring more service-driven foreign investment to our shores and more investment from international markets to our research and development sector. Your PLP government will do that for you. We'll make direct foreign investment more attractive by completing the Deloitte project. This will prioritize digitalizing our economy with better online service and delivery across the entire public sector and the entire St. Kitts and Nevis. By taking these important steps, we can create more highly skilled, highly paid jobs. And in these uncertain economic times, your PLP government will ease the burden on businesses and continue to provide tax incentives, because we understand that one of the best ways to support businesses is to create tax incentives for them. And so to build upon the tax incentives that were established during the stimulus packages released by our Prime Minister during the COVID-19, we will keep the corporation tax at a low COVID rate of 25%. Your caring PLP administration will also cut the harsh 17% VAT that was introduced by a former administration down to 10% and eventually eliminating it completely. Your PLP government will go further to maintain the unincorporated business tax at a low rate of 2%, because we understand that small businesses need to have that incentive to grow and thrive. And so in conclusion, I say to you that this is a bold plan. This is an ambitious plan, because PLP, your PLP government, is ambitious for our country and for all of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and for all of the businesses and entrepreneurs that we have here. We believe in you and we want to support you. And so by keeping taxes low, by making investment more attractive, and by supporting both new and traditional industries, you've heard about the orange economy. We plan to take advantage of that. And for all our entertainers, we want to ensure that you can make it a business to become entrepreneurs under this new thriving industry, so that together we can deliver a secure future for all. We want to deliver that secure future with a stronger economy and to create more jobs. And so I ask you, on election day when we go out on August 5th, who do you trust to deliver the secure future? I'm appealing to each citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, all of the residents of my constituency, and all of the residents of each constituency here on St. Kitts, to vote for your future. Vote for your children's future. Vote for your children's future. Vote to secure the economy. Vote to provide more jobs. And vote for the protection of all of our citizens here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you very much.
I really think that deserves another round of applause. A chain is as strong as its weakest link, I've been told. And I'm yet to find a weak link in the PLP line of candidates. So it shows how strong PLP as a party can be and how strong PLP, a government, will be. I am so impressed of what I've heard today, and I am myself appealing to the people who are listening in Radio Land, those on social media, those who will be told later or who would visit live, and realize that we cannot deny the residents of St. Kitts and Nevis this chance of an orange economy. We have to make sure that when we go out on August 5th, we vote for a government that we can trust. And we can see that this is not somebody, this is not a party that is just promising. This is a party who would have delivered under the leadership of Dr. Timothy Harris. We would move on to constituency number 6. I am so proud. I've had the opportunity to interview this young man and he floored me. I was awed. He speaks little, but he is so knowledgeable. He can provide so much more. He is the talk of constituency number 6. He has already made his mark, and I am so proud to be here this afternoon so that I can present him again to you. And you would understand what I'm speaking about when he would have make his presentation. Mark, you have made that mark in constituency number 6. Constituency number 6 is breathing a breath of fresh air because they have a fresh representative who would represent them, who have represented them, and who continue to do so after August 5th. Mark, I welcome you to the podium.
Good afternoon, colleagues, members of the press. My task this afternoon is to deal with the blue economy and agriculture. This will be broken up in 3 parts. It will be crops, livestock, as well as fisheries. We are living in unprecedented times. Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the increase in the prevalence of climate change, and the increase in agriculture and fisheries input prices. These overarching issues heighten the risk of not being able to protect our citizens from hunger and malnutrition. Collectively, we need to generate practical solutions to mitigate and indemnify ourselves against food and nutrition insecurity. The People's Labour Party will reshape the stratosphere of agriculture and fisheries, where the country can be self-sufficient in the provision of food for the sustenance of all its residents and create income and wealth-generating opportunities for farmers and fishers. We must unlearn some of the teachings of the past and absorb new knowledge to attain the goals for agriculture and fisheries, despite of the challenges facing us. In the area of crops, I must say one caveat is that I'm only highlighting certain aspects for the full trust of the areas for crops, fisheries, and livestock. We should read the full manifesto. Our farms produce at the mercy of the heavens opening up. Our water resources are used mainly for consumption by our citizens and residents, which create competition for water resources. The provision of alternative sources of water to irrigate farms on demand will be prioritized in order to increase food production. Feral animal control is another challenging issue. The green vervet monkey and wild pigs have caused havoc in the fields for crop farmers. A significant number of farms are unable to realize maximum yields because feral animals destroy the crops planted. We at PLP have multiple creative solutions to manage the threats posed by these animals. Additionally, the increased support for protected agriculture will be emphasized to supplement and improve the yields from agriculture from traditional agriculture sources. In the area of livestock, the People's Labour Party government will improve meat production of most of the commercially viable species. St. Kitts and Nevis is a chronic importer of meat, which has our food security at risk, given the entire world is placing greater importance on their own food and nutrition security. It is expected that there will be a reduction in the supply of imported meat, which has heightened our awareness to increase local production. The increase in local production of our large and small ruminants through genetic upgrades, which will withstand the harsh climatic conditions in St. Kitts and Nevis, is a priority of the PLP administration. The development of the animal product value chain is also critical. Habitually, meat production is focused on primary production, and farmers forfeit revenues by monetizing their products at this primary level. The discards and existing meat products can be processed further to increase the level of production from a single animal, which would lead to an increase in the supply and the revenue of quality meat products. In the area of fisheries, the development of aquaculture is vital. There have been a fluctuation in fish landings for more than 2 decades, and it is attributed to warming oceans, plastic pollution, and other land-based sources of marine pollution. It has led to fishers radically increasing the capital placed in the marine environment in an attempt to maintain and increase existing production levels. Aquaculture is the avenue by which we can have more accurate and sustainable fish production targets while reducing fishing pressure on our sensitive marine ecosystems. The improvement of fisheries infrastructure in Bastia East, Bastia West, Palmetto Point, Old Road, Sandy Point, and Deep Bay will be done under this PLP administration. To create the enabling environment for the development of fisheries, improve fish safety, and enhance the marketability of fish products. In conclusion, I would like to state that the People's Labour Party genuinely seek to provide tangible solutions to agriculture and fisheries issues, improve our food and nutrition security, and the livelihoods of the food producers for the sustenance of their families in order to have the secure future for the citizens and the residents of our federation. And if we want to continue to enjoy this secure future, we should vote for the People's Labour Party candidate in all 8 constituencies. Thank you very much.
I am impressed, and I know you all are impressed. It's what a difference can time makes from wanting to incite to being informed. It makes such a difference. I am so impressed with what is coming out of constituency number 6 and for what we have for the future of citizens in St. Kitts and Nevis. I hope we're not taking these things lightly, because it's the first time ever I would have heard any political party could come to the people and citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis and can give you such a commitment, not just a plan, not just a program, but a commitment in what they're going to do for future. Taking into consideration, when we look at what is happening around the world, the recessions that the world is on the brink of going into a recession. We see the high prices rising fuel pumps. We see the war in Ukraine. We are seeing a lot more other devastation from natural disasters. And yet still we have a party that can present to you hope in times of troubles. And that we know for a fact that they are going to deliver because they have continued to do so. I am prideful, and I'm even more prideful to bring to the podium a man that people talk about who have risen, who have moved from one bus into many buses, but they have not spoken about the relationship that he would have had with citizens, not just in constituency number 8. When I've heard about Talbot Bass, I've heard about how generous he is, how considerate he is, how kind he is, and most of all, how interested he is in people. And I know that this is not going to change him. It's going to give him a chance to be kinder to more people because he's on the platform. He's in the political arena where that has to happen. Talbot Bass, I welcome you to the podium for you to give an idea of how you are going to deliver to not just to the constituents of constituency number 8, but to the residents and citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Good afternoon. I want to adopt the protocol that has already been established. I want to give God thanks for life and my beautiful wife. My name is Andrew Talbobas, the PLP candidate for constituency number 8, which hails from St. Peter's, Kitstodad, Needmus, Half Moon, Connery, Canada Estate, Keys, Keon, Otlis. A big constituency want a big man. I want to talk to you this afternoon about our policies on transport and infrastructure, and our energy and water supply. Why transport and infrastructure are important? To deliver a secure future, we need strong infrastructure. Good roads make good journeys. I know that for sure because I own and manage a transportation company. It go easy in the pocket with the vehicles, with the suspension parts. That's why we have a plan to make it easier to get around, to get to work, and to trade. We know that our communities are stronger and safer if they are better connected. And that's what this plan will do. But we can also build up and improve our infrastructure if we have the energy and water supply we need. So we will invest in improving that too. Our contract with the people means we will invest in our roads, especially those in St. Peter's, going all the way through Beaufort's into Keon. We will ensure the roads in all housing projects are completely paved and repaved. We will improve secondary roads throughout St. Kitts and look to reduce congestion in built-up areas. Alongside this, we will seek to open up access to our island's interior by constructing bypass roads. And we will improve public transport in areas without current services, such as Boardwalk, Frigate Bay, and the Southeast Peninsula. We will also develop public and green spaces throughout the country, with new walking and cycling trails to improve family recreational and community life. And we will launch and implement a new national physical development plan. We will review legislation to facilitate more renewable energy programs, projects, and services. By doing this, we will look to put the Federation on a trajectory to becoming the greenest small twin island nation in the Western Hemisphere. We will promote the use of public transport, switch to energy-efficient lighting for residential and commercial properties, and build out our solid waste management and recycling project. Alongside this, we will work with the private sector to prioritize desalination to address water shortages, and we will drill and commission new wells in Shadwell and Keon to meet the water needs of residents in affected communities. Our plan will support workers. It will support the grassroots people, these who strive, those who worry about putting food on their table, those who worry about having a secure future. These are the people I see riding on buses. These are the people I stand up for. These are the people who have motivated me to run. These are the people who keep our economy going and who deserve our support so we can provide a secure future for all of them. In conclusion, this is a plan that builds out and improves our transport system and revitalizes our infrastructure. And we will increase and improve our water and energy supply. And by doing this, we will create more jobs, provide more protection for our people. This is the People's Labour Party plan that protects the people and delivers a secure future for all. So, secure your future. Vote for the People's Labour Party to ensure good service for you, the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you.
I want to thank you. I want to thank all the candidates for giving us just a bird's eye view of what we have in store if we would elect a PLP government to office come August 5th, which is next week Friday. It's not much time from now. But I have hope. I don't know about you, but the future looks bright. Not just bright, it's orange bright. Orange bright. If we would give the party PLP a chance to form this government. We know what PLP has done for us under the leadership of the Honorable Timothy Harris. I said PLP because he's been the leader of the PLP party. We have seen where he would have taken us from, and we have a good understanding now, listening to them, where he's going to carry us. He have a good understanding, and not only a good understanding, but he has the ability to manage money and to make the impossible possible. We have seen that over the years. He have been tested, he have been tried, and he have come through. He came through for us, and I know that he'll continue to do so. I want to thank the candidates for giving you that presentation. I hope that is well accepted, and not just a presentation, and not just a promise, but the commitment that they have a binding contract between themselves and the citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are short on time. It was our intentions, like we said, it was a press conference, but we have to cut down on some of the questions that we are going to receive from the press, but we're still going to give the press a chance to ask questions, but would ask you to limit it because of in the interest of time, so that the candidates have other engagements that they have to attend, and so we ask that you can cut down on some of the questions. So we're going to open the floor now for the press to ask questions. If they care to do so on different media houses, you can do so now. If you have a mic that you want to give him? Anybody have or should he use this one? You could come to this one. You have a mic here? Okay. Jason? Press the button, yeah.
Microphone. Good day, Jason Davis of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation. In Dr. Harris's initial statement, he mentioned the increasing of the poverty alleviation program, doubling it to $1,000, and the promise of a $3,000 salary to specific sectors of the civil service for properly trained members. What are the plans to fund these initiatives? How will you be funding these initiatives? That's it.
Okay, we have one question from after the second question. I suppose I'll direct that question to Dr. Harris so you can start preparing for answer. We have any other questions? You have any other questions from any other media houses? Okay, we have Andrew Hewitt. It's already on, I think, at the bottom.
Good afternoon, German Abel, SKN5. A couple of questions. I want to go back to the point.
Can you speak into the mic, please, Andrew?
I want to go back to the point, the question that Jason just asked.
Can you turn the mic on, maybe?
Yeah. Check. Yeah. I want to piggyback on the question Jason just asked. With the challenges currently facing St. Kitts and Nevis, and the fact that inflation is high, we're receiving challenges surrounding the Citizenship by Investment program. Realistically, are these social programs going to be sustainable in light of the challenges that we're facing? That's one. Two, Kendall spoke specifically to sports and sports development in St. Kitts and Nevis. Existing infrastructure was not mentioned. Can we get a little bit more in terms of what sort of developmental plans you have for existing sporting infrastructure? We can look at the challenges Warner Park Football Stadium is facing at this point in time when it comes to the lighting infrastructure at that facility. And I want to go back to Dr. Harris's push and thrust surrounding the marijuana, medicinal marijuana industry. I'm not sure if anything specifically was announced or said when it comes to the overall decriminalizing of the marijuana in St. Kitts and Nevis. Can you speak to that? And my final question has to do specifically with reform. Nothing was mentioned this afternoon surrounding that both being electoral reform and constitutional reform. Is that something that the People's Labour Party is considering at this point in time?
Okay, thank you for your questions. We're going to have those, I suppose, are directed to the Prime Minister. Dr. Harris, would you answer there or would you come down to the podium? Okay, he's coming down to the podium, so he'll answer your questions.
Thank you very much for those questions. Perhaps we could start with the last in relation to electoral reform and constitutional reform. These are areas of ongoing discussion. Indeed, in my own presentation, I made reference to Section 110, which is an area in which we have invited the World Bank to assist us in providing professional advice regarding the working of Section 110, the revenue sharing measure between the federal entity and the NIA. So I did reference that. But more broadly, constitutional reform would always be a matter on the agenda because we have, after 1983, at some point to revisit in a comprehensive way the elements of the Constitution which continue to need a relook and a revisiting. And so constitutional reform for us is an ongoing matter. And I did make reference to one particular section of the Constitution. So again, we have considered that, and that is a matter which from time to time we will speak to more broadly. The question of the sustainability of the social safety net program, the answer can be had in terms of the we just came to social safety net program, a variety of include health. For example, on the health, there are a number of services These services are made available free of cost. We have a particular program administered by the Ministry of Social Development. If you are sick and you have to go abroad, the government provides or contributes up to 5,000 US dollars to assist you in that particular endeavor. We have other support to persons whose family are suffering and have difficulty, and we provide those support. In the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, which was one of our most challenging time and one of the most challenging for the entire world, what did we do? We expanded upon our social safety net program. We did, which few other countries could have done. We introduced an income support program, $1,000 per month. That has continued up to 2022. We introduced a fuel support, $400 per month. That has continued. And in fact, in our 2022 budget, we expanded the beneficiary group to not just include the H-bus operators, the regular transport buses, to include taxi operators. I make that point to say that because we have always managed well, at least under my leadership, we have been able to sustain the programs that are critical to secure the future of the people of our country. So based on that example, the answer is had. Yes, they are sustainable. We know how to manage, and we have managed well. We have managed well. That is why wherever there is a need, we have introduced it. When we introduced Pathway in December 2018, many people look ask us how we are going to do that. But PAP continues today, and it's one of the most popular social safety net programs. So the proof of the pudding you can see in terms of our rich experience as a government to do that. And how have we been able to do that? We have grown the economy, we have saved, we have ensured by and large that we astutely manage the finances of the country so that we can sustain what we are doing. And that is the answer to that particular question. And do not forget one of the critical planks of our way forward: protecting the people, creating jobs, and having a strong economy. How would a strong economy comes? By a variety of initiatives. Dr. Mark Williams spoke to some initiatives that will boost agriculture and make it a critical part of our way forward. Agriculture now, fisheries sector, has just about 1,500 registered households impacted by that. Agriculture has over 1,200 registered farmers. As more people come, as we add to the technology, the impact of these sectors continue to grow. And as we deal with the reality of food security and the imperative to grow more of what we eat, we are going to be expanding income flows in the country. We speak about broadening the tourism product in a variety of ways, adding new hotel types, for example, all-inclusive, which leads to more sustainable traffic flows into the country, creating more demand for services. We speak to new industries, moving into movie making in a larger way. We speak, and this will take some time, to the very marijuana industry to which you make reference. These are going to be new, legitimate areas of growth, of activity in the country, creating the wherewithal by which we sustain our social safety net programs. We have done it before. Based on that experience, you can rest assured that a Harris-led government will not be reckless. We think things through. We think things through. We stage the implementation of things. One of the first things I did in 2015, we went out to find funding to pay the sugar workers who were shortchanged. their $16 million. We found a beneficiary, benefactor for that, so that our farmer sugar workers could benefit as a result of that. We introduced the PAP program in 2018. Some people wanted us to do it at their whim and fancy, but we time it well. So in all things that we are going to do, we are going to space them well to ensure that the burden and the fiscal resources of the country is not overwhelmed. And there has never been a time when our fiscal resources have been overburdened. And like all the countries, we never went one day to secure IMF or loan financing to take us through the pandemic. And we had one of the largest and best stimulus packages to be implemented in the region. I think then that should satisfy us in terms of whether or not these programs, social safety nets, as you call them, can be sustained. They will be sustained so long as there is a need. There will be reform from time to time to deal with the evolving realities of the times. So that is the answer to it, and we are confident about those. And the matter of electoral reform is always with us. It's a work in progress. And we have had several interesting ideas about how and where we shall go in terms of electoral reform. And those discussions, I'm sure, will continue after the elections on August 5th, and we will look at them again, and we will bring them to the people, find a consensus, and move forward with electoral reform. These are not, as it were, things cast in stone, because we are an evolving democracy, and democracy must have life and meaning and value. And so to satisfy all those imperatives, from time to time we will go back, we visit, review, take the best that we have, carry them forward, and in those areas of deficiencies, we are prepared to adjust them with the consensus of the people. We are satisfied that we will have strong growth. That is why we are optimistic today about our future under People's Labour Party administration. We have seen the vulnerability. We have programs to address them. And we know the challenges, and we have identified growth areas. Some already there, like the tourism, but adding new areas. New sectors like movie making and production and marijuana, and the blue economy now will loom large. And that has a variety of different subsectors which we have to become engaged. And as we do those, and we obtain foreign exchange from as many of them as possible, St. Kitts and Nevis economy becomes even larger and more resources will be there. As we have talked, for example, about the ICT and how we are going to introduce data center, attracting, we hope, some of the largest and the international companies here. And with that will be necessary to develop a range of other support services. So we are on the right track, we are on the right path. Look at how we are looking at the future in terms of our own energy, security, and the reliability of supply. Solar, we already start that. We already have arrangement in place with respect to that. Look how we are looking at the future, and we have made commitments and already signed contracts in relation to achieving water security. In other words, we are a visionary government. And we did say from the beginning, policies are bold. We are able to make them bold because we understand where the country is at. I have had the experience of managing the country's financing for the last 7 years. And from where I stand, I have perhaps the best sense of what are the economic and fiscal realities and risks which the country faces. But we know, under my watch, more was done. We paid off the IMF $117 million debt left by the last administration. We have expended over $200 million to buy back the lands which were poofed away by the last administration. So now more people can have a plot of land. More people can have homes. The beautiful edifice sporting as the community center at Atlas were built on land reclaimed from the land for debt swap. The new housing project, Liamiga housing project, could happen because we bought back the lands from under the land for debt swap, now releasing it for greater economic activity, from idleness into economic activity. So we give every assurance, prudent fiscal management. We will focus on strengthening the economy. And once the economy is strong, it will release the resources to keep our social safety net intact. Thank you.
A future that we can look forward to. Are there any more questions that need to be answered? Or are you satisfied? You have the mic is there. Take the mic. I'm not. You still have unanswered questions, you're saying?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying there are a couple of questions on the floor left to be answered.
I'm not understanding. Sorry, I'm not understanding what you're saying. Oh, you asked a question to Kendall. Oh. Okay. We will have Kendall. You can answer that question. That was about infrastructure and sporting. Yeah. Would you come to the mic and explain?
Very quickly, the infrastructure of the country is being modernized across all socio and economic avenues. Sports is one of them. As we speak, for example, we are doing upgrades everywhere. Warner Park continue to be year after year something new, something different, whether it is lighting or other facilities. And so these things have become a routine part of what we do. As we build new, we try to maintain and sustain those that have existing value. So the question about infrastructure, no government before our time has done as much for infrastructure as we had. Whether it is in terms of the build out of the internet support services, look what happened now. You have all these hot spots, Warner Park, New Street, Church Street, about 6, 7 spots. Almost every community center now has free internet access. All of them, I'm reminded by the minister, infrastructure development is taking place in an ongoing and an organized way in St. Kitts and Nevis. The road network is something that is continuing time after time repeatedly. So that would be the answer in terms of the infrastructure, which you're talking about. The matter in terms of decriminalizing, in terms of marijuana, that we have already started. The expunging of the records of persons, that is part of our body of law. There are new areas in which we have to engage, and over time again, as part of the run-of-the-mill. Because these are what the Attorney General Office will deal with. These areas of reforms, etc., those will come in due course. And as we continue, as we develop the industry more, we are going to find areas in which we have to do more legal work, more legislative work, and we are committed to that, and that goes par, of course, in relation to reform of the criminal justice system.
Okay, there you've had it. Any more questions? Are you satisfied? Or are there any more questions pending? Well, like I said before, the candidates have had previous engagements, and so we have really gone over the time that was scheduled to do this. I want to say how grateful and thankful I am for those of you who would have participated today, those of you who are in Radio Land, those of you who are listening over social media. I hope that you are as awed as I am, informed as I am, and we recognize now that this election is not just an ordinary election, it's an election of who we can trust. We have seen the People's Labour Party administration who has just came on stream, the candidates. We have listened to them this afternoon, and we would have seen what they have to offer. We have seen where the country would have come from under a leadership of the Honorable Timothy Harris. Out of the hands of the IMF, we would have seen that he would have purchased those lands. Young people have a chance now to own their own homes and their lands, having a good understanding of what it is to be able to own a piece of land, using it as collateral to take you further. We're seeing a complete paradigm shift in the way things were done in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we have the confidence that if we would do what we have to do, the choice is clear. I don't think we have another choice. Are there any other alternative? We're seeing the two alternatives at work before, and we see where they took us to, and we understand that this one has taken us from where they would have carried us and have intentions of putting us into a brighter, oranger, bluer future. And we cannot deprive ourselves of something of this nature. Our children's future depends on this, and the future of the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis also depends on this. I want to thank you for coming, and I do hope that you have a safe journey, and that what you would have garnered from here would not, if you have had any doubts, would clear up all doubts, and realizing that your only choice on August 5th is to vote for the PLP candidates, all 8, and restore them and take them into a government that would bring St. Kitts and Nevis as the envy of the entire Caribbean. Thank you.
It's so easy like ABCD 1, 2, 3 PLP, welcome all our way. Everybody full of confidence in our orange, we're moving mountains to ensure poor people's progress. Yes, they broke their promise and try to take advantage. We got representatives you would not regret. Young people speak, you got a voice around the table. We promote and empower the youth. We uplift families and make their life more stable. Your contributions are reasons that I need. We come together and build a nation for the next generation. For a stronger, safer, brighter future. Be everywhere from everybody. Know who you're rolling. B to the L to the L to the. It's so easy like ABCD 1, 2, 3 PLP, welcome all our way. Everybody full of confidence in our orange, we're moving mountains to ensure poor people's progress. Yes, they broke their promise and try to take advantage. We got representatives you would not regret. Young people speak, you got a voice around the table. We promote and empower the youth. We uplift families and make their life more stable. Your contributions are reasons that I need. We come together and build a nation for the next generation. For a stronger, safer, brighter future. Be everywhere from everybody. Know who you're rolling. B to the L to the L to the. It's so easy like ABCD 1, 2, 3 PLP, welcome all our way. Everybody full of confidence in our orange, we're moving mountains to ensure poor people's progress. Yes, they broke their promise and try to take advantage. We got